let's kick this off like I would any podcast episode. Greetings, all you lovely, crazy people out there by PC Pod or Pad. You are listening to and quite possibly watching the Paid to Play podcast. I'm Rob Farke, your host, and I am here to help you monetize your madness by sharing the stories of folks who are earning some money from what they love doing, no matter how silly, geeky, or odd. Now, I wanted to do this for a particular reason, and I think a very bloody good one. Oh my God, Carl just said, and the kids are watching, so I might have 4 grandkids watching me blather along live on Facebook. How you doing, folks? Oh, crap, Paul Cockram's here. Oh, well, there goes the whole event. Nah, sorry, any pretensions of class this might have had, gone. Anyway, where was I? So, yes, I wanted to do this because we cracked 2,000 downloads in the month of June. That is bloody incredible. I mean, it was only in April, literally 2 months ago, that we cracked 1,000 downloads of the show. And it's not just 2,000 downloads. The official figures from Blueberry, I went and got them just before I kick this off, say that we got 2,227 downloads. During the month of June, I honestly thought we weren't going to make it that high. I think it was pretty much close to the end of the day when we were still about 1950, 1960. I put a couple of tweets and spread the word out that I was looking to crack the limit, and overnight I got another 250 more. So that was bloody brilliant. Quit opening new tabs, Rob. Close everything else down. Of course you're not wearing pants, Paul. Do you ever wear pants? I worked with you for God knows how many years, and I'm pretty sure you were pantsless through the entire thing. I think it was just an illusion that you were maintaining. Everyone just politely ignored the fact that you were parading around the office in your undies 24/7. Anyway, so yes, Shane, we smashed 2,000. It was, bloody great. And not just the fact that it was 2,227 total downloads, because there could potentially be some double ups there, but the unique downloads, the individual bring downs from people's computers and phones and tablets came to 2,044. So that is basically 2,044, maybe not 2,044 individual people. I kind of went over this last time, because it could be a single person could access episodes from their computer, from their phone, from their tablet, and it would count as an individual unique access. But still, that is fantastic, especially since I think I only put the 2 episodes out in June. And let me just go to paidtoplay.com.au and make sure. And I'm starting to think that maybe putting this up on Twitter would not be a bad idea either. And of course, I can't find an easy way. Yes, your own home is indeed a pants optional location, Shane. All right, I invite friends. Aha. This might be, no, I don't want to save link to Pocket. I just want to copy the link location. Thank you very much. And this is what I do for doing things at the last minute. Apologies, folks. I wind up waffling at the screen. Twitter.com. I've got to do it on another browser because that's the one that gives me my Paid to Play podcast. Where are we? Live on Facebook right now. All right. And because I have, did you guys see, by the way, I managed to crack 500 followers on my my Twitter feed, so I better reshare that there as well. Come on, you rotten thing, just to make sure that it gets the maximum chance of people pootling along. Not that you folks aren't lovely as it is, but hey, the more the merrier. Okay. Ange, good to see you too, and Michael. This is what Facebook Live was made for. Absolutely, people rabbiting on at random. So, God, guys, thank you all very much for coming. My lovely wife is still asleep at the moment, which is probably good because I'm going to be singing at you sometime in the very near future. All right, one thing I did want to do was go over, and I better shift this over here so it's not getting in the way of the chat window. Frodes, nice to see you too, mate. Where are we? So, yes, the top 10 downloaded episodes for June 2017. I wanted to do a quick countdown, which might be a fairly quick one because we had a lot of ties this month. It was a very formal month, as it turned out. And I was going to mention that I only had 2 episodes go live this month, which were episodes 118 with Fon Davis. And if you folks haven't heard that one already, please go check it out. It is, I mean, Fon works in Hollywood in special effects in terms of actually building miniatures and practical effects, but he's also got a studio set up with a bunch of people who sort of have their own businesses, but also kind of work under him, and they could pretty much make an entire movie out of this facility from start to finish, you know, from pre-production, design, wardrobe. I'm not sure if they've actually got full-on sound stages. I suppose they might have to do something else in that regard, but they've got motion capture, all that kind of awesome stuff. Post-production editing, and Fon is looking at becoming a bloody director, for crying out loud. So it was great to chat with him about some of the fantastic movies he's worked on, the Star Wars prequel trilogy. I don't know if he worked on The Force Awakens, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had a hand in it somewhere. Starship Troopers, The Nightmare Before Christmas. So please have a listen to that. And, of course, episode 119, which was with Yevgeny Puzankov, a fantastic fellow who actually reached out to me to come on the show, who is a narrative designer for video games, who makes sure that not only, I think it was John Carmack of id Software, the guys who put out Doom, and pretty much Doom, really, they've been kind of remaking it for the past couple of decades, who said that story in video games is like story in porn. It's nice to have, but in the end, not really necessary. I mean, pretty much with a video game, as long as the action keeps going and it has you hooked in, Tetris doesn't need a story, for crying out loud. But then again, that said, story can inform a game like nobody's business. If you're a hardcore gamer, you can probably name 2 or 3 occasions when character moments in video games made you cry. So yes, a fellow like Yevgeny definitely does have an important part in making video games intriguing and compelling. So yeah, if you're interested in video games and all what it takes to work in the industry, especially as a freelancer, please give him a listen. But anyway, I went off on a bit of a ramble, and I better get back to the comments because they've probably been railing. Frode had to pop off. Thank you very much for coming in and saying hello, mate. It's always good to have you around. I ought to be really liking stuff myself as I go. It's probably a good thing. Anyway, so the top 10. There were some double ups, like I was saying. So we'll start with starting at the bottom, and I have to start with 3. From 10 to 7, it was a tie at 27 downloads for each of these 3 episodes. And let's see, they were all pretty much from, they were included a couple of golden oldies. I mean, let's see, Jesse Kutch, there's a name that a few folks on here will know, Ange, Paul. I chatted with Jesse in what used to be the media room out the back of the advertising area at the Cairns Post. It's where the advertising manager's office is now, where I'm pretty sure it's still Trish O'Neill sits. But that used to be where Jesse and I think Isaac Egan, yeah, they used to put all their AV kit. Hello, Heather, another Cairns Post alumnus, and hello, Lily. Thank you very much for coming along. Jesse Kutch was the entertainment editor at the Cairns Post at the time and a DJ, and he has gone on to bigger things. I think he's living in Brisbane nowadays, editing stuff for, I think he's still working for News Corp. I'm not 100% sure, but he's doing great things down there, and he's still trotting off across the globe being a DJ, so good on you, Jesse. We also had, from 2013, Gerlinda. I have to apologize, Gerlinda, because your last name is now Stella, but as it was recorded back then, you were still Gerlinda Arras of Mirror Image Consultations at the time. We were hoping to get together sometime this year for another catch-up chat, because things have changed a little bit for Gerlinda since then, not least of which is getting married, but she's rebranded her business now. It's just Gerlinda Personal Stylist, and she's got something else in the works, but she's just not quite ready to talk about it yet. She needs to get a couple more ducks in the row first, and then I'll be able to get her back on for a catch-up chat. Used to live next door to the GM of the Cairns Post. Great guy. Michael, was that Nick Trumpf? I know the Cairns Post has had a few general managers, of course, in its time, but Nick was the guy who was there when I joined. I'm pretty sure he's still back on now, although he's doing lots of stuff. I think he's managing a whole bunch of regional editions, and good buddy, I know it must be driving him nuts. Maguire. Maguire was before my time, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Lily Gerlinda is indeed lovely. And she was fantastic to chat with, and fingers crossed we can get her back on soon. And then from last year, also at 27 downloads, of course, was Bernie Bregman of Nerds Like Us. He goes by the moniker of the Geek Gatsby, and I kind of envy him his success. He is a party organizer for the LA Geek scene, and I'm pretty sure that sometime in the next few days, he is going to be holding a birthday bash for none other than Stan Lee, the head honcho of Marvel Comics, a guy who's pretty much become a pop culture event in his own right. I mean, there's not a Marvel movie. Maybe some of the X-Men ones didn't have him make a cameo in, but pretty much almost every Marvel-based movie, Stan has popped up somewhere in some shape or form. Let's see then. Moving on, we had another couple of ties at 28 downloads apiece. There was my interview with author Joanna Penn, who is another one of these wonderful people who is living the dream. She is a full-time writer, a podcaster as well. The Creative Pen podcast is still going bloody strong. Oh, quick update from Rob. Nick left this week. Well, good on you, Nick. Congratulations on the change. I hope whatever is coming up next is just as fantastic, if not potentially more so. So good on you, even though I'm pretty sure you're not watching this at the moment. Anyway, where was I? Yes, Joanna Penn has put out a bunch of supernaturally themed thriller novels, I think more along the lines of the Da Vinci Code, but with a kind of a Lara Croft-esque ass-kicking female lead in Morgan Sierra, the Arcane series, so catch them. You can buy them from Amazon, download them to your Kindle. I think there might even be print editions. And the tie for 28 downloads was my 1,000 downloads in April announcement. That still managed to get 28 downloads during the month of June. So thank you all very much for catching up on that one. Lily has to go. She's got to drive home. No worries, Lily. Don't know if I will be online when you get back in, but thank you very much for coming along anyway. And Rob Rigby says that Nick managed 30 years with news. That is a phenomenal achievement. I couldn't quite make 10, but there you go. That was me. Good on you, Nick, and all the best. Moving on, another tie for 29 episodes, skipping back to 26, well, both of these are from 2016. My chat with Bernadette Bentley, the bright and bubbly Broadway babe, I believe she bills herself as. Sorry, Bernadette, I can't remember off the top of my head, but yes, you are still a very popular subject. I think pretty much that you're kind of a cospreneur, and you've got so many irons in the fire. People do love to come along and hear more about that. And tying with the lovely Bernadette was the equally lovely Barjo, Stephen O'Donnell, who I also chatted with in September of 2016 when we were hoping to see him here in Cairns for the sadly ill-fated Cairns Talk PopCon. But it was still fantastic to chat with him, and it's been good to see him still plugging away as a live streamer and hosting, I think it's Good Game Spawn Point that he's pretty much doing nowadays after the main Good Game show was sadly wound up by the ABC. But, God, that was a great little tale about a lifelong love of video games and how Barjo has been able to do some incredible things with it. So, yes, no wonder that's still popular. So that basically has run us through the 7 of the 10 most downloaded episodes of June 2017 in 3 tied heats. Thankfully, the next few are individuals. So let's see. At number 3, with 40 downloads, was Evgeny's episode. So please, folks, I hope you do keep coming along and giving that one a listen. I think it's the first time I've ever actually knowingly spoken with a gent from Russia. Evgeny hails from St. Petersburg, and that's where he's working at the moment, although I think he's kind of hoping to score a gig with a company in Berlin. So fingers crossed that does happen for you, Evgeny. And here is an intriguing little flashback. Number 2, with 54 downloads, was the supplemental episode I did with Lee Dall'Osto, local business owner, former politician. At the time, she was owning and operating Plan B Cafe out of Edmonton. I've been meaning to get her back on the show for ages because her paid-to-play outlook has gone through a heap of changes in the meantime. The only problem is I need to do an on-site recording, and Shane, if you are still watching, I've still wound up not doing anything with that little portable netbook that you gave me in terms of getting Linux run on it so I can hook up my microphone and go mobile with it. I'm being a bit of a slacker there, but yes, it's interesting that you folks decided to go back all the way to, I'm not sure how Blueberry is formatting its dates. I think that's May the 11th, or it could be the 5th of November, but no, I'm pretty sure it's May the 11th, 2015, to listen. Oh, no, 5, 11, 15, 14, 15, 15. Episode 13 of Paid to Play must have been 2012 because I've been doing this for 5 years. I don't know. It might have been just having to restart the site a couple of times and shift everything over. That made the dates a little bit wonky. And that's pretty much the same thing with, no, hang on, episode 45 with Joanna. That makes sense. That would be 2015. But yeah, it was good to see you folks go all the way back. Oh, Shane, you are a gent. Oh, Rob Rigby has lost audio and video. Only the chat is visible. Rats, sorry to see that, Rob. Hopefully once this thing goes up on Facebook post-recording, you'll be able to catch up on that. I'll just write him a quick comment. Sorry to read it, Rob. Seems to be working for everyone else still. Sorry, Reddit, no, to read it. Typos. Okay, still working here. Pierre, I don't know if I said hello to you already. Thank you very much for coming along. Thanks for the confirmation, by the way, that you are still getting that. So, all right, Lee Dall'Osto was at number 2 with 54 downloads. So interesting that you guys went that far back in the library and found that particular piece of content very interesting. If you were one of those folks who did get it and had a listen through, I'd be particularly interested to find out what you found attractive about that episode. You know, at the back of my mind is always that this content is pretty much evergreen. There is, even if my guests make further progress in terms of getting paid to play, there is still that emotional journey at the beginning that the rest of us who are still a couple of steps behind would help to hear about, and get a bit more confidence from it, and then they can come to your more recent episodes once they get a little bit further on in their progress, listen to those, and get then what they perhaps couldn't get out of listening to them closer to when they went live. Anyway, which brings us to the number one most downloaded episode in June 2017, and it's probably not much surprise that it is, of course, the episode with Fon Davis with 83 downloads. Fon, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was I think I've already just rabbited on about Fon a little bit earlier on, but just, mate, thank you. All the best with your directorial debut. I hope it doesn't drive you absolutely bonkers, and I can't wait to see what that looks like. Great stuff with the BattleBots. I'm looking forward to seeing what your armored builds for the Megabots contest look like. And yes, once again, thank you very much. Christina Binning-Wilson says it's working for me, and thank you very much. Working for her. Thank you very much for coming along. Pardon me. Great to listen to that great RF voice, as good old Vivek Kumar at the Cairns Post used to call me, Radio Rob. Apologies, Vivek, if you happen to see this later on for doing a bad job of trying to do your accent, mate. But anyway, thanks for coming along, Christina. Go tend to your garden. It's raining here at the moment, or else I'd probably be out mowing the lawn. 502 followers now. So yes, Mick, if you quit me, doesn't make any difference, mate. I'll still be above 500. Still be there. Ha! You cannot hurt me, sir. I'm stronger. Anyway, enough of that. So yes, where were we? Okay, folks, I have to warn you, you might want to step out of the live broadcast for a little bit, because as promised, as I did promise when we hit 2,000 listeners, I was going to sing at you, which is probably going to be as bad as a Vogon reading poetry at you, for you fans of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy out there. But where this came from was a couple of days ago, I was in a group called the Podcast Discovery Center, which is a great little closed Facebook community for people who are into podcasting or who are interested in podcasting and want to make a go of it. I got dragged in by Ross Barber Smith, one of my interviewees, another fellow who actually asked to be part of the show, contacted me cold. And, I hope that means that, Lily, you are actually back home and watching again. So, yes, it looks like I will be here for a bit longer. Okay. Anyway, somebody posted about being able to access reviews on iTunes. And, folks, if you haven't already, please, if you do use iTunes to download and listen to this podcast, I would appreciate a rating and a review. As always, iTunes notices, and the more ratings that you get, the more likely it is likely to recommend your podcast as one that is worth listening to. And Lily's in the car. Is this going to be an ode? No, it is not. Well, I suppose it's going to be kind of an ode. So anyway, problem with iTunes reviews is if you get people review you from across the globe, you have to switch iTunes stores in order to be able to view them. So if you're in Australia like me and you get a lot of people listening in the US rating and reviewing, you can only find out if you actually go into your iTunes settings, swap to the US store, and then go look at your podcast's ratings and reviews there. And that's true for each bloody country that you get a rating and a review from. So sometimes it just gets a little bit too much like hard work. But there is a WordPress plugin called iTunes Podcast Review Manager, and thankfully my podcast runs off of WordPress, so I was able to download and install it, and all of a sudden I discovered these iTunes reviews that weren't there. And I have no idea why. Maybe it was the lateness of the hour, maybe it is just my nutsy brain, but I wound up writing down the following. Did I still have... I had this open... where are we? I think it was, someone was complaining about a similar problem, and a gentleman by the name of Harold Ree put a link up to this application. And another guy by the name of Nisar Ahmed, or was it Ahmed? I'm not sure. I don't have the correct spelling here right now because I messed it up for the lyrics of this thing. But anyway, I think he said he was going to check it out as well. But I was looking at this thing, and yes, my brain went on the following tangent. So again, you might want to mute for the next few seconds. You might want to step away. I don't know, go make yourself a cuppa. But brace yourselves. Here it comes. I'll just check. June, Andy, thank you both very much for coming along. Sorry for the quick break before. So June, that's fun timing that you just joined right about now, because for a little while I was the front man for precisely 1 gig of a band that June was a member of for a work function way back in the late 90s. So here it comes, June. I don't know whether this is going to cause any flashbacks or any nightmares or anything. I've been live for 27, almost 28 minutes. That's incredible. Okay, so here we go. To the tune of Oh Holy Night, which will probably be obvious once I start singing it. Oh, holy shit, this app is truly awesome. Now I can see what they say about my show. That's all I've got for silly made-up lyrics. I am so tired and to bed I must go. But I came up with some more that went like, to Harold Ree, I really should give thank yous. Hey, that would make a YouTube video. Nisar Ahmed, please tell me you've installed it. Oh, Harold Ree, I just found your 5-star one there. My wife is not woken up by this. Oh, thank you all who gave me 8 5-star reviews. All right, that's enough. That's it. That's all I wrote. Hopefully that didn't do you too many of you any auditory or mental damage. But anyway, but on that note, speaking of 8 5-star reviews, 8 5-star reviews, that's pretty freaking sweet. I did want to spend a little bit of time, because I've never done this before, and my apologies, folks. And yep, typically I shut that bloody tab down as well, didn't I? Where are we? Projects, the Paid to Play podcast. This is where I just get everything bookmarked. Podcast reviews. I have never actually gone through and really acknowledged the reviews I have got, the people have given me. On iTunes. So I want to do that now. I want to go through, read out these reviews that I've got. So this might have to make a separate piece of content, I think. I don't know if I'll be able to pull this video off of Facebook and put it on YouTube, but fingers crossed. So I'm going to read these out in chronological order. So all the way back from February the 6th in 2016. I'm pretty sure that's February the 26th. Yeah, it is. Okay. Not June the 2nd. So here we go. Someone by the name of Justin Daze, Justindaze, gave a review titled, "This was a great show." And they said, "What a great concept for a show. I really loved Paid to Play. As someone who is chasing a dream myself and has the end goal of getting paid to play, I found the show fascinating. Someday, once my own project gets off the ground, I hope to be a guest on your show. I've subscribed and I look forward to exploring your past body of work as well as the new episodes. Keep making a great show." Well, I'm pretty sure I haven't had a Justin as a chat guest yet. So Justin, I hope everything is going well. I know sometimes what seems like a fairly straight line from where you are to where you want to be kind of winds up being a little bit like this and forward and backward and that way, and maybe the goalposts change a little bit, so your idea of success moves and the path just gets more wiggly and wobbly. But I hope you are making progress anyway. But anyway, from March the 4th, someone by the name of AJ1, that's A-J-A-Y1. Let me just rearrange this again. Paul Cockram says, chocolate rain, eat your heart out. Thank you, Lily. I'm glad you thought that was beautiful. And Will, no mental damage done, mate, just tears of laughter. Great job. I'm glad you got better from yours, Michael. You must have the mental recuperative powers of the Wolverine, mate. Anyway, A-J and then the number 1 says, great stuff. Rob, I enjoyed listening to your show. You really hit the nail on your head, what you said about not putting yourself in a box. I too share the same belief system that originality stands alone, much like your show. Of course. Keep it up, mate. Anthony Hayes from Me, Myself and I Radio.com and the podcast Discovery Center. Anthony, thank you very much for coming along, for giving me that review. I haven't seen you in this live cast yet, but shout out, brother. Thank you very much for putting the podcast Discovery Center together. It's a great place to hang out and get some inspiration and advice from. So for you folks, if you are thinking about podcasting, track down the PDC. Let me know if I can send you a link. June says, good to see you, Rob. 10 out of 10 from me. You've not lost your talent. Don't stop singing. Thanks, June. Okay, next 5-star review was from Jeep. Capital J, 33 capital P, says, well done, Rob. I like this show. It's very informative and interesting. Looking forward to more episodes. And that was on March the 19th. So, 120 episodes as of when Delaney King's one goes live next week. So, plenty for you folks to listen to. Glad you liked it, Jeep. From Canada, on July the 31st, 2016, funnily enough, I mentioned Anthony Hayes in the Podcast Discovery Center just now because here is the other half of the founding duo of the PDC, Edge Motivation Scotty, aka Scott Doucette, who has had a few of his own shows and is currently looking at putting Podcast Bay, his podcasting advice show, back together for a new season this year. What a show, he says. From the amazingly funny host, well, I hope you folks still think so after that bit of singing at you, but anyway, the amazing guests all the way to the fun questions and format. Rob Farquhar knows how to put on a hilarious show. It covers how people get paid to do what they love, and it's wildly entertaining. Thank you very much, Scotty. I mean, from a podcast professional like yourself, that does mean a heap. All these folks are from, well, I shouldn't say from the United States, but from the Northern Americas so far. No reviews from the UK, none from Australia, which could be maybe there's just something wrong with the way this app syncs up with iTunes. There could be some iTunes shenanigans, or maybe my Australian and UK listeners are just a pack of slackers. Get onto it, folks. Get on it. Get on it. More reviews. Doesn't take that long. Then again, considering how finicky iTunes can be, sometimes it can take that long. So maybe fair enough. Anyway. Oh God, Christina Binning Wilson says it's hard to get away. Great singing voice too, thanks. And then Michael Carey says these people are not judges on American Idol on singing. Taj just joined. Thank you very much for coming along. I was privileged to meet you in 2016 for Tropicon, and meet Kit. For those of you folks who don't know, Taj Barron basically has it is a Pontiac Trans Am, isn't it? Which she has converted into a replica of the Knight Industries 2000 from Knight Rider. When we met, I think she was pretty much starting to work on the interior and getting the dashboard to look correct. It did have the little flashy thing already that, when Kit spoke, but the rest of it still needed implementation. So Taj, I hope you've been able to make some progress on that since. How did that thing go with that? I think that it was a Knight Rider fan film that you were working on and that your car was in. That would be interesting to find out about. But look, okay, anyway, sorry to rabbit on again. Where are we? Yes, here we go. As sung about in the song on October the 15th, 2016, at Harold Ree, follow that guy on Twitter, says, make sure to go to the website. Excellent podcast from Rob Farquhar interviewing an outstanding range of guests covering entrepreneurship, creatives, and the road less traveled. Make sure to go to the website as it has all of Rob's interviews, which are all excellent. Thank you very much, Harold. Moving on, December the 4th, 2016, from Helix2301. Short and sweet. Title was great show, and this show is a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Moving on to 2017, this very year, May the 25th, Photo Rain. Title is Easily a Nat 20. Great show, great listen. You should sub this right now. Do it. Have you done it yet? Okay, I'll wait. Okay, how about now? So thank you very much for the encouragement, Rain. And anyway, as I was saying, my paid-to-play plans to get paid to GM got put on the back burner. And there was, by the way, Lily, this might interest you, I did have a couple of friends of mine say that one of the things I ought to do is, as a potential freelance venue, is look at getting paid to GM and, you know, actually charge people for doing sessions. And I've got to admit, when I first met up with you guys, I was kind of thinking about saying, hey, you know, first hit's free. How about a bit of ongoing remuneration for the next session? I just sort of thought, you know what? And Vicky also mentioned this to me. It's worth keeping a hobby that you do sheerly for the joy of it. And I think if, as a game master, maybe I could monetize gaming by getting a group together and then aligning with a channel so that they pay us to game, or maybe I could be a consultant or something like that. But I don't know. I get the feeling that GMing a session with people, that's one of the things that I just, yeah, it doesn't, right at the moment anyway. Maybe I'm leaving cash on the table, who knows, but you guys paying me for pizza is plenty. And of course, Michael Carey found the ode to a small lump of green putty I found in my armpit one midsummer morning. Speaking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there's Vogon poetry for you. Anyway, so yeah, that was where, in terms of getting paid to play, I decided to leave at least role-playing games sort of out of that for the moment. And I am actually talking with a couple of people on a, funnily enough, still a podcast-related venture that I'm hoping I'll be able to get off the ground fairly soon. It's one of those things that I don't want to, you know, as it's in early stages, I don't really want to talk about it publicly just yet. Just because, you know, that horrible thing that you get if you talk about things a lot instead of doing them, you get that little endorphin rush from sharing your plans, and because you're already happy about the thing, you don't actually bother doing the work to make it really happen. So that I'm keeping close to the chest. Fingers crossed I'll be able to share some more information about it fairly soon, within the next couple of months. Lily says pizza is the spice of life, and Paul, of course, is here, so he will probably get what I mean when I say the pizza must flow. For crying out loud, more connection problems. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I got basically warnings from Facebook saying, due to poor wireless connection, your video stream has been paused. But for crying out loud, I use wired internet. It's a direct Ethernet connection from my computer to my router, which is itself connected via phone line to the internet. So, yeah, I don't know what it was doing. I won't be on for much longer anyway, folks, but again, thank you very much for coming along. As I was saying, I do have another paid-to-play venture in the works, which I am going to keep a little bit close to my chest at the moment till I can do some more development work on it. But anyway, fingers crossed I'll be able to get that going soon and announce it to you all. It is a bit more, it's less entertainment-oriented, more directly aimed at helping people solve a problem and take some work and some pain off their shoulders. So fingers crossed it should become a thing fairly quickly. All right, so let's see. Thank you very much that you can see and hear me again, Jim. This is going to be a run of bloody videos on Facebook. I wish I could bring them all together into one hit somehow. But anyway, so really, I think the only things I wanted to left I had on my agenda was just to give some hype to the next episodes that are coming out on July the 6th. this coming Thursday will be episode 120 with a 3D character model designer for video games, maker of miniature models for her own line of tabletop miniatures, wargaming miniatures. Sorry about that, but and also advocate for the LGBTIQ community in video gaming, Delaney King. We had a fantastic chat that wound up going for almost 2 hours. So that will be live. It is, of course, available now for folks on Patreon. And because of early demand by my Patreon backer, Sim Lauren, an unedited version has actually been live for about the last month or so. I don't know if it's had any downloads aside from Sim, but anyway, it's been there for my Patreon backers. Matt Bond. Matt, thank you very much for coming along. I'm sorry that it's pretty much at the tail end of this thing. But, yes, and Matt, there we go, a guest of the show, folks. Matt was on for 2 episodes of Pay to Play, so please make sure, if you are going through my back catalogue, go listen to him. He has a fantastic story about overcoming injury and general life adversity, and even having to change entire career tracks in order to make sure that he kept food on the table, but in both cases it was what he loved doing that was paying the bills. So, yep, absolutely, go listen to Matt. And after July the 6th, I am going to be taking a few weeks break. This was designed into the schedule, especially as it's my 40th birthday coming up. For those of you folks who were looking forward to coming along, I was throwing a party, but I mentioned a little bit earlier on how I kind of had to ramp back my pay-to-play activities due to my wife being very ill, and unfortunately that's put paid to my 40th birthday party as well. We were looking forward to having it home, but right at the moment, the amount of prep work that will be involved, and that Vicky absolutely loves to cook, and between this thing that is causing her so much pain and other general illnesses at the moment, she's kind of lost her taste for food, sadly enough. It was just to the point where we didn't even know whether Vicky would be well enough that we could prepare and then, you know, accommodate people. So we're just inviting maybe a few folks around for a coffee if they feel like it. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but, you know, while I could get snitty about how I don't get a 30th birthday party, Vicky is in pain. And she feels horrible that it's wrecking our social lives, on top of the fact that she just feels horrible from this bloody illness that she can't seem to shake. So, you know, I'm a spoiled brat when it comes down to it, only kid, raised pretty well, you know, pretty well off family. So, you know, I get pouty when things don't go my way. But really, you know, there are other things going on. Absolutely. Got to take care of health first. Oh, friggin' hell, Andrew Haig comes and joins right when I'm about to wrap the damn thing up. How you doing, Hazy? Good to see you in here, mate. So yes, anyway, a couple of weeks break, and then I'll be coming back on August the 3rd for episode 121 with my chat with Ian Livingston. I don't know if I've hyped this guy already, but he's basically a name you can conjure with in the UK games industry. If you've heard of Games Workshop, the company that puts out Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000, the tabletop miniatures games that so many pubescent boys, and nowadays, thankfully, it's getting a bit of a better demographic, but, you know, so many of us kids kind of happen across, and while we're in that hormonal heavy metal stage of our pubescence and just latch onto it and refuse to let go. Ian was one of the 2 guys who co-founded that company that made those. He started the Fighting Fantasy series of books with his Games Workshop co-founder Steve Jackson, which again were kind of a mainstay of UK kids in the 80s. And he, after getting out of tabletop gaming, went and worked for a video game company that kick-started the Tomb Raider franchise. So he has been everywhere, he has done everything, and it was fantastic to chat with him. Diane, thank you very much for joining. G'day, Andy. Good to see you. I'm getting a lot of ex-Cairns posties through here. It's great. I am sorry to say, unfortunately, you've come in right at the tail end. Thankfully, you missed all the technical quibbles, unless this one drops out as well. But good to have you here. Thank you very much for coming along. After those two, those are basically the two episodes that I have in the can at the moment. I am working to queue up some more interviews. I don't really want to announce them until I've got the schedules firmly done. I've got a couple more cosplay folks coming on, a couple more folks in the RPG scene, working with a couple of contacts in the PDC, and we will see where things go from there. And I'd just like to wind up saying, I hope you folks who aren't already, if you've got a spare couple of bucks in your account at the end of every month, I hope you'll go find the Paid to Play podcast on Patreon. So that's patreon.com/paid to play. Or if you just go to patreon.com and search for Paid to Play, you'll find me fairly easily. And maybe chuck the podcast a couple of bucks a month. I mean, 2,000 unique downloads, over 2,000 unique downloads in a month. If 1% of those folks chipped in $1 a month, that would be $20 US, a little bit extra in my own Paid to Play investment and personal fund money budgets. So I'd really appreciate, but if not, please keep listening, keep telling everybody about how awesome the show is. If you get a chance, give us a 5-star rating review in iTunes or whatever podcatcher you might be using. Thank you, Mitchell. Mitchell Davies just said he will be chipping in again soon. That's great to see, mate. We've been looking at trying to get Mitchell on and off on the podcast. He's a cosplayer, but more importantly, he's sort of doing his own business in selling anime-related merchandise, and he's also a Twitch streamer, so it'll be fun to chat with him about that sometime soon. He's also a Cairns local, and looking forward to getting him on the show once his endeavours kick off. And if you're saying that you're coming on again soon, that must mean that things must be going pretty good for you business-wise, Mitch, which is bloody great to hear. And that really brings me to the end of the live cast. So one thing very quickly before I head off, I would like to throw the floor open a little bit. Do you folks, and 11:05, I really ought to be shutting down and going to do some house and yard work soon, but before I go, did you folks have any questions about the show, about getting paid to play? Just anything you want to say before we wind this little live chat up, and we'll go have because I think pretty much all of my current watchers are in Australia. So before we all wander off and have a great Sunday morning, I'll just use this quick break to have a little sip of Perrier, as Robin Williams once said. So yes, I'll just sort of stare at the camera for a little bit and keep a weather eye on the chat window. I don't think Vicky is up and about. I don't want to call out to her because she might still be asleep and I don't want to wake her up. She's been having a lot of rough nights lately. But at the same time, when I do these things, she tends to keep out of the front office, and I don't want to give her the impression she's not welcome. So what I might just do is just open the door and have a quick look around and see if she's around. And if you guys have any questions, I'll come check and answer them when I get back. So back in a sec. Hey folks. All right. Should catch up on it best. No worries. Oh God! And Kathy comes back in right as I'm about to shut down and head off. Vicky is up and about and doing some bits and pieces around the joint, so I'd better go out and help her. Kathy, thank you very much for coming back in. Apologies for the technical issues that been driving us up the wall. Andy, thanks for dropping by. Mitch, no worries. Lily, thank you very much for the congratulations. And July the 9th, I think, we've pretty much got scheduled for the next session, July the 9th and July the 23rd. So, yes, folks, Lily, of course, is one of my players. I thought A D&D would have been the retro one, Michael, because, you know, there's no A anymore. It's just all D&D. 5th edition, if you're... June says, enjoyed my first podcast experience. So glad it was yours. Looking forward to seeing you next time. Love to Vicky and hope to see her here too. I don't know when that's going to happen, June. We can probably do a Facebook-based video chat or something, but she's not gonna go live on camera for one of these live chats. She's a bit too she's a bit too camera shy. No, she hates getting a picture taken because she reckons they never come out great. So, which is why, Kathy, thank you very much for your wonderful photos. They were fantastic. I mean, you know, she's using hers as your profile picture. So, look, by the way, folks, if there's someone else whose business I'd like to recommend, Captured by Catherine. Kathy Coombs here does some great photos. I've seen a whole heap of Cairns local folks spruiking her stuff. She did the photos of me as XCOM Central Officer Bradford a couple of years back. She's worked with cosplayers. She's starting doing boudoir shoots recently. Mitchell, she's done some great photos of, not boudoir shoots, cosplay. Although, hey, you never know, Mitch, you might look good in a set of skimply negligee, mate, but we'll leave that there anyway. Yeah, a wee bit camera show. 1985, mate, I was what? How old was I in 1985? I was 8. And I think I'd maybe heard of D&D, but yeah, I didn't get into it until the early to mid 90s when a mate of mine got the red box basic D&D set. Yeah, weren't they when you were doing your Naruto cosplay, Mitchell? I think. Anyway, yes, I had which part? Which part of what, Michael? By the way. Or which part of the early or the mid-90s, or the which part of D&D? Well, now I feel old now. Mate, I'm about to turn 40 for crying out loud. We all get old sooner or later. All right. Oh, those would be fun to see, Mitchell. So, but look, everyone else, if you're in the Cairns area and you like some good photos done, go talk to Kathy Coombs at Captured by Catherine. So, on that note, before I wrap it on any further, and Vicky wonders where the hell I've gotten to. I mean, she knows where the hell I've gotten to, but still, I did promise I'd go and give her a hand. Everybody, thank you very much for coming along and helping me celebrate 2,000 downloads in April. It's been fantastic having you here. It has been fantastic making this show for you, and I hope to keep doing it for a good while yet. So on that note, folks, this is Rob Farker, host of the Pay to Play podcast, asking all of you, as always, to be a little dangerous and stop hiding yourself.